What's up, Super Scholars, and welcome to our final Read Aloud of the week. This book is called Esquivel, Space Age Sound Artist. It's about a Mexican artist who revolutionized the world of music. So we're going to read about Juan Garcia Esquivel and how he changed music from Mexico. It's written by Susan Wood and illustrated by Duncan Tonatua. So let's go ahead and read Esquivel. When Juan Garcia Esquivel was a small boy, he lived with his family in Tampico, Mexico, where whirling mariachi bands let out joyful yells as they stamped and strummed. By age 6, Juan was curious about music. There was a piano at Juan's house, but it was a player piano, a paper roll told in which keys to play. Clever Juan had an idea. He disabled the paper roll and turned his parents' jangly piano into one he could practice on. He played it day and night. By age 10, Juan was captivated by music. He loved to play piano, anytime, anywhere. Sometimes he'd disappear from home in search of an audience, and his family would have to go looking for him. They always found him in front of a piano. When Juan's family moved to Mexico City, the country's bustling capital, Juan found work playing piano at Mexico's first 24-hour radio station. He performed for 15 minutes each day and was paid 2 pesos a show, enough to buy a sandwich and a taxi ride home. He was just 14 years old. Juan started learning all he could on his own. No music teachers, lessons, or school. Without traditional training in how musical notes went together, Juan focused instead on how sounds could be arranged. Finally, Juan felt ready to create his own music. So when at age 17, he was offered the job of orchestra leader for a popular comedy show at the radio station, Juan gladly took it. When the radio comedian needed music for a skit about, say, a stout man walking his tiny poodle down a busy city street, Juan had to imagine what that might sound like. Juan might ask the kettle drums to bum, 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 like a lumbering giant. He might ask the clarinets and oboes to yip and yap, like a dainty dog. He might tell the trumpets and trombones to honk, blap, beep, like blaring car horns. Juan tested and mixed and blended and arranged all sorts of sounds to match the imaginary situation. He was an artist, using dips and dabs of color to create a vivid landscape. But instead of paint, Juan used sound, weird and wild sounds, strange and exciting sounds. Juan started experimenting with popular Mexican tunes. He tinkered with tempos, slowing songs down, then revving them up. He fiddled with dynamics, swapping soothing soft sounds and startling loud sounds. He twisted chords and combined instruments to sound thrilling, dreamy, and often funny, because Juan liked music that made people laugh. But underneath the humor, it took great musical skill to play Juan's challenging new music. Nobody had ever heard music like Juan's. Soon, he was winning awards. His songs were turned into records that people could buy in stores. Juan's innovative music could be heard on radios and record players all across Mexico. An important record company in the United States heard about Juan and his unusual music. Would he come make records in America? Yes, yes, yes! Juan packed 2 suits. He bought a big red convertible sports car with a white top. Then he drove all the way to New York City. Vroom! There, Juan found a music shop the size of a department store, with 3 entire floors full of strange and exotic instruments. He saw bumbo tubes that could play a tune, a spooky-sounding electric instrument called a theremin, a bazimba, a kazoo-sounding contraption played with a mallet, the audioline, an organ with a swaying keyboard, and even a gong. So many odd new sounds to play with. Juan was in heaven. The late 1950s and early 1960s was a great time to be recording music. Scientists had developed a new process called stereophonics, or stereo for short. It separated sound so when you listened to a recording, music could seem to come from the left side, the right side, or both sides at once. For sound artist Juan, stereo was yet another exciting color for his musical palette. To make a good stereo recording, instruments needed to be kept apart while they were recorded. That way, the brap from the horns couldn't get mixed in with the wee-wee of the flutes. Most conductors used curtains, screens, or special booths to separate the instruments. That wasn't enough for Juan. Once he put half his orchestra in one recording studio and the other half in another recording studio on the other side of the building. So far, it felt like they were an entire city block away. The magicians wore earphones so they could hear what they were playing. And so that everyone could see him, Juan conducted on closed-circuit TV, television only the musicians could view. Juan had one more sonic trick up his sleeve. He brought in singers. But the singers didn't sing words. They sang sounds. They'd sing zoo, 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 or do and pow. On Juan's quirky versions of popular songs, he'd replace the lyrics everyone knew with singers' fun, flashy sounds. People loved Juan's colorful music. It took them to other worlds, other planets. It sounded like a crazy rocket ride zigzagging through outer space. When Juan wasn't making his unique music, he enjoyed many things. He liked beautiful art, fancy cars, and elegant clothes. He especially liked pretty women. But Juan loved music most. Juan made many records and played hundreds of concerts with his orchestra. In Las Vegas, Juan and his musicians performed at the Stardust Hotel for 14 years in a row. Fans from near and far, including famous singers, actors, and actresses, would come to hear his out-of-this-world sounds. Juan also made music for dozens of movies and television programs, even a TV show especially for children. Juan wasn't called Juan anymore. He'd explored sonic frontiers, expanded musical possibilities, and enhanced the way people think about, listen to, and enjoy music. Now Juan was the space-age sound artist simply known as Esquivel, with an exclamation point. Esquivel. This is a real picture of that Mexican artist, Juan Garcia Esquivel. Awesome. And that is the end of our story about the space-age sound artist from Mexico. I hope you enjoyed this real-life story and learning about this man's life. Thank you so much for joining me for Read Aloud. Let's shake it out, move your body, and get right back to our awesome work.